Hey, I'm about to react to Brian Johnson's reaction to Joe Rogan's dismissive slapdown of him on Mark Bell's podcast. I'm just going to link Mark's reel. I think it kind of shows the whole thing concisely. Mark, if you disapprove of me using it this way, let me know. I'll take it down. But I just think it's the best way to summarize what I'm about to react to. And it's kind of hard to watch, so I'm going to give you a pretty nature palate cleanse beforehand, okay? All right, here's the clip.
Joe Rogan made a pretty interesting statement on his show.
Have you seen that bloke that eats the raw?
No, that's a gimmick, that guy.
It just looks ridiculous. He's got a plate of hearts and he just looks weird.
He's got an ass filled with steroids is what he's got.
What do you think of that comment?
First of all, I just want to say I think he's incredible. I think that I couldn't be more grateful that he's talking about me. Joe Rogan said, this guy that I hold in the absolute highest regard, irrespective of the light he's painting me in. Look at how happy I am. You know, look at how many people that have never heard of me have now heard
Liverking?
of me.
Who? Right?
This is, you know, one of the greatest feelings. I also just do want to say, I think that him saying that is dangerous. You know, I want to set the record straight. I would love the opportunity to talk to him face to face, to really get deep into the 9 ancestral tenets. What I'll share back with you, and I'm just gonna face it head on. I don't touch this stuff. I've never done this stuff. I'm not gonna do this stuff.
What stuff?
The ass full of steroids that he talks about.
You've never taken steroids?
Never taken steroids. I've never done PEDs other than prioritize, execute, and dominate in life. The other day somebody said something about growth hormone. Somebody said something about insulin. Somebody keeps going off on the deep end and saying, what about designer drugs that nobody can fucking detect? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, what about that, Liverking?
And there's all these peptides too.
It was honestly kind of hard to watch, so here's some nice, pretty nature to kind of cleanse the palate. I mean, I hope it's obvious to most people what's wrong here, but yeah, this is just taking the whole gratitude thing to ridiculous, creepy levels, okay? Like, Joe Rogan just smacked him down. That wasn't criticism. That was just like a dismissal of his whole life in a very, very rude way. It was a smackdown. I mean, Joe Rogan kind of spanked him, and he basically said, you know, thank you, daddy. Can you do some more? You know, like, one grown man says something that rude to another, and your first response is, you know, to talk about how wonderful he is and just be giddy that he talked about you at all, that he noticed you. Man, like that's hard to watch. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to be. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I like Joe Rogan. I enjoy his podcast. It's really comfy when he starts talking about, you know, the chimpanzee and it's got to be like 200 pounds and man, that thing can kill you. I enjoy that. It's nice. It's comfy, right? But man, I mean, am I going to be giddy if Joe Rogan just says something extremely rude about me and just dismisses everything that I do and just in very rude terms? No, it's still not something that I want to hear from anyone. It doesn't matter how, you know, how many followers they have or how high their status is. Like, that's a negative thing. I mean, and just to be so obsessed with the attention that you're just excited that this person has given you attention, it's dangerous. I mean, he talks about dangerous. Well, unfortunately, some people are looking up to this guy as a role model, as kind of an ideal of masculinity, and even you know, maybe getting rid of, I don't know, some of the things that are, you know, currently holding you back. And this person who's unfortunately a role model is behaving like, honestly, like I keep wanting to use kind of S&M terminology here, which is really creepy, but that's kind of where I keep getting drawn to, because, you know, you get smacked by somebody that's higher status than you and you get all giddy about it that he paid attention to you. That's rough, man. That's not how it's supposed to be, you know? You know, if you weren't, you know, lying about everything, that wouldn't be the response. I mean, you wouldn't have gotten just a completely dismissive smackdown like that if you weren't obviously lying about everything. But, you know, beyond that, just this, you know, this culture that attention is all that matters, whether it's positive or negative. No, man, like, respect is more important than attention. It doesn't matter how many people you're being seen by if you're being seen as a joke. And God, especially if they're seeing someone just disrespect you and you just suck up to them and just talk about how wonderful they are and, you know, how much you'd really like to talk to them and just how giddy you are that they're talking about you. It's repulsive. It gives me a very creepy feeling. I don't like seeing that, even from someone that I've criticized. And unfortunately, it seems like that's kind of a mentality that maybe isn't represented so much anymore. You're just seeing, you know, the idea of just attention and fame is all that matters, you know, whether positive or negative. You know, it doesn't matter if you're famous because you're the Island Boys or because you actually did something good. And we need to push back on that, man. I don't know what's wrong with this guy, how he got his screws so loose. And, you know, maybe some people are going to say it's just about the money. He doesn't care because he's laughing all the way to the bank. Okay, well, if that's true, I think there are more important things than money. Obviously, this guy's got a lot of it. Something's deeply, even if you are just purely concerned about the money, when you have that much, you're getting insulted, humiliated in public like that. That should still bother you. You know, like, no money's worth that. You know, there's no point in being rich if everybody's laughing at you because you're being humiliated. But I don't think it's even that. I think he genuinely is just so obsessed with trying to be like this fitness personality that everyone's heard of, that, you know, he's just happy to be talked about. And yeah, that's not it, man. Like, you want to be respected, not just mocked, you know? And I mean, yeah, Joe Rogan's got a huge audience and he talked about you in front of him, but like, that just means you got mocked and just completely dismissed. Because I mean, he brings all sorts of people on, and sometimes some of their ideas are good, sometimes they're a little bit out there. I mean, you know, they wear freaking spacesuits and talk about all sorts of crazy stuff, you know? So, you know, you just got slapped down in a very rude, dismissive manner, and deservedly so. I'm not bashing Joe Rogan for being rude. It was deserved, but that's not something you should ever come off as gleeful about. And maybe it's a cope, okay? But God, that's sad. And, you know, that does not need to be the, you know, masculine role model that we're putting out there. And unfortunately, it kind of seems like it is at this point. So that's why I'm making this video. Not to just, I mean, I'm not really enjoying just twisting the knife in this guy's humiliation. It's rough, you know? It's not something you want to, it's embarrassing, even if it is someone that you know, do want, you know, to see taken down a peg, you know? Thanks for watching.